What's up guys, Dakota here, and since I didn't have to work today, I'm going to be doing a pair of custom shoes for a nephew of mine, and I'll probably start working on another custom pair for my wife. My nephew wanted to have a custom pair of Hollow Knight shoes. If you guys don't know who Hollow Knight is a video game that came out for all the platforms that's kind of like a 2D side scroller in a way, kind of like Mario, but it's got some... it's pretty neat. I did this drawing, if you guys can see it. It's kind of, there we go. I did that drawing on my tablet back about a year ago, and so I'm probably just going to go ahead and utilize that as my template for these shoes. So the way that I start off is I use white paint to put down a base coat. Even though the shoes are white, if I do a white base coat, it's easier to draw and to paint on. It's easier for all the other colors to go on smoother than just putting down onto the actual shoe. The reason being is because if you, I don't know if you could tell, but it's kind of that cloth textured, and when you paint on top of that and try to draw on top of that, there's fuzzies on the shoe, and it really doesn't make it look good. So that white base coat really just smooths all that out, and it makes it look a whole lot better. So I'm gonna go ahead and unlace these shoes, clip the tag, and get started. So now that I got the shoes unlaced and the tag done, also if you look in there, I put in some towels. I don't have any shoe trees, is I think what they're called. But that's okay, the towels work just fine. It makes it all stiff on the toe. So what we're going to use for the white and every other paint I have is, I use Angelus paint. Angelus paint is probably the best paint I've ever used for customizing shoes. I used to do everything with Sharpie because I couldn't really get a good paint set that I liked, but I ran into Angelus after watching a lot of YouTube videos, and it literally works so good. So Angelus has this stuff called Too Soft. It's a fabric medium additive that causes the paint to be a little bit more milky feeling, and that's the way you really want these shoes, or this paint, to go on these shoes. So I'm gonna go ahead and start mixing that paint up with, mixing that white up with the Too Soft, and we will get to painting these shoes. So as you guys seen in that last part of the time lapse there, I used a heat gun to kind of dry off the first base coat. It's really dry. You want to make sure that it's dry before you start drawing on it. It just looks white pretty much. I mean, you could tell a little bit of different tone from here to here from the white that I use. But now I'm going to go ahead and start laying out my lines with a pencil. I use a mechanical pencil because of the extremely sharpness of that pencil. Makes it easier to get those thin lines that I want. So I'm going to start with my baseline, and then after that I will go over it with black. There will be a couple of times that I will go back and reline. That's just how I do it. It's not how everybody has to do it. I reline my picture quite a few times, because whenever I go over it with the black, I'll then paint, and sometimes it'll paint over that black, but it's still prominent enough to be able to see that black outline, and I'll just go back over it, but you'll see. Alright, so now that I got that lined out, I kind of had to change up the picture a little bit. I made it to where the sword's coming out from behind his back, because the way that I put the picture on the shoe, it doesn't fit well as far as how big I wanted the picture to be. I wanted it to be big enough to where you can notice it's Hollow Knight. You can't really tell because it's in pencil, but after I use pencil, I'll go back and line it, which I'm going to show you that here in just a second. There we go. That's what it looks like right now. Then I'll go back with a paintbrush and line it in black. So I'm going to show you the type of paintbrush I use for that. I bought it from Angelus itself. It's such a thin paintbrush. There we go. As you can tell, that's really thin. That's the way I like to do my lining work. So I'm going to start doing that right now and show you guys what that looks like on the time lapse. Alright, so I laid down the baseline. That's what it's going to look like. I know it looks you ain't going to really get the understanding of it until I shade it a little bit better. I'm going to be putting on the base coat, which is going to be like the color of his cape right there. And if the lighting would get better, you can see, there we go. The cape and the actual colors and stuff. This is going to be more of a darkened tone shoe, so it's going to be a little hard to work with what paint colors I have, but we'll deal with it. But I'm going to go ahead and start coloring it in and getting some shading done. So I finished with the toe part of the shoe, and I'm pretty happy the way it turned out. Either way, it looks good to me. So there we go. It even looks like the light's coming down on it. That's pretty cool. But yeah, that's the toe part. I haven't figured out what I want to do back here yet. There's a couple ideas I have, but I will show you. I'm going to go ahead and finish this shoe out and the other one as well. And once I'm done, I'll go ahead and show you guys the whole complete two shoes ready to go. So let me get to work on that and I will be back. So I got done with both of the shoes and here is what the finished product looks like. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. These shoes were not my best work. I would like to take a little bit more patience in the future. I've done way better, but The type of shoe that I used was not Vans, and you could tell with the way that it took to the paint, it wasn't the same. It just wasn't the same. Better shoes equals better product in the end, in my opinion. Anyway, here's what the shoes look like. Hope you guys had a great video. If you're new to the channel, hit that like button and hit that subscribe button. I post stuff kind of like this every now and then, but I do a lot of vlogs, and I'm on a journey to Japan where I'm losing weight, and those episodes come out on Tuesdays, and my regular just uploads come out on Saturdays, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on both days. I hope you guys have a good day. Catch you next time.